I wish I had more money so I can afford all the stuff that I want.
Your wish is my command. Why don't you start a podcast?
A podcast? I thought they were just a hobby thing. You can't make money from doing a podcast.
No way! You can make loads of money doing a podcast.
That can't be right. I've never heard of any that do.
Here, watch this. It'll give you a few ideas.
Yeah, you're listening to the Top 10 Podcast Hit. In at number 10, it's The Pod!
That's just short for The Podcast. How does that make any money?
I suppose the name doesn't make much sense, but the content more than makes up for it. The Pod makes nearly $17,000 a month.
At 9, it's all the way from Canada, Canadaland.
But I'm not Canadian.
You don't need to be. Canadaland is a news analysis podcast that just so happens to be the most popular podcast in Canada.
And at number 8, the Daily Tech News Show.
It's worth approximately $27,000 a month.
Daily? No wonder it makes so much money if it's daily. I haven't got the time for that.
You don't need to. Daily, weekly, monthly, release it whenever you want.
In at number 7, you love them, we love them, it's the Doughboys.
This better be about pizza.
It kind of is. It's about two guys pitting fast food restaurants against each other.
And at number 6, it's the last podcast on the left.
Podcasts have directions now, do they? Whatever next.
The last podcast on the left is a crime horror podcast about conspiracy theories, murderers, all that kind of stuff. And it's worth over $50,000 a month.
And at 5, it's the Ralph Report.
I'm not called Ralph. This isn't gonna work.
You don't have to be called Ralph, but he does have a very good idea. He releases a free episode every Monday and then charges $3 in the week for the rest.
That just sounds complicated.
And at 4 is the podcast everyone's talking about, the Waking Up Podcast.
This podcast looks at current events and what's happening in the world. You don't have to release yours in the morning, just whenever's best for you.
And staying put at number 3 is the Second Captain's World Service.
What does that even mean?
Oh, it's not too complicated. They cover a variety of topics, but they charge €5 a month to listen to it.
And just missing out on the top spot at number 2, it's Salt and Scale.
That one sounds dangerous.
Oh, it is a bit. It's a true crime podcast. And way back in 2015, they held a fundraiser that raised over $30,000. It's a great idea to do fundraising and crowdsourcing.
And this week's number 1, you guessed it, it's Chapo Trap House. And that's it for this week's Top of the Pods. See you next week, guys. Woo!
It's a political comedy podcast, although that doesn't really matter too much when you realize they earn $116,590 a month.
$116,590 a month? Wow, thanks Jeannie. I'm definitely going to start my own podcast. I'm just not too sure how I go about it.
You're welcome. If you ever wish for any inspiration, head to Podcast.co. They have plenty of tips to help you starting your podcast. Now, what's your next wish?
I wish to be a genie.
Why would you want to be a genie when you could be a podcaster? If you wanna be with me, baby, there's a price to pay. I'm a genie in a bottle, gotta rub me the right way. Okay.